TED Talk shows, we have different type of events. Like I'll give you a heads up, we have something called as Vintage Night that is going to come up very soon. And we will have 2 days trip, overnighter rides and stuff. So all these will be the first timers. Before that, as we start, how many of you yourself, how many of you guys ride out there? Everybody are motorcyclists? Out of all of you guys, how many of you guys call yourself a biker? Yeah, it's counted. Unless and until you are on a 2 week, it does. What makes you call yourself biker? The man with the orange shirt, I would like to know from you. What makes you call yourself a biker? Is it because you ride? Avoid for me. I mean, see, for this. Okay, so why would you call yourself a biker? Do you call yourself a biker? What's the reason? That's one good answer. Who's next? Who calls themselves a biker? Be confident. I mean, if you are a doctor, be confident. You call yourself a biker? Why? Yeah, exactly the answer that I was expecting. So, before you guys call yourself a biker, one thing you have to keep in mind is discipline. It has a lot of things to do with discipline. So, just as the young gentleman out there told, commuting from point A to point B, call yourself a biker. In fact, okay, like that if you see, my dad goes from my home to this workplace, I wouldn't call him a biker. Because for him it's just about reaching the destination. He's a commuter. But when it comes to a true biker, discipline is what comes to everybody's mind. If you guys can revert back or opposite, no problem. It's a complete blunt show. So as I told, it's a blunt show. Let me tell you what Super Coffee is all about. Super Coffee, we start with an agenda wherein it's very easy for people out, influencers, right? Every Tom, Dick and Harry is an influencer, right? Everybody with a GoPro, with a 360, Insta 360 or who is vlogging influencer. I mean, how many of you guys agree on this that everybody you see with a GoPro is an influencer? How many of you guys disagree with it? Just like I told you, it's not just about but also so people. Okay, so as I told you, it's a very planned show wherein we don't keep any curtains out here, nothing is scripted. Scripted in the sense, yeah, I'm very frank. Question is, I do script it out because so that I don't forget on the stage. It's a very limited time that we have. And the best part is, this is an opportunity for you guys wherein you guys can actually sit down and talk to the person who you guys look up to or learn something from. Usually you go find them in any meetups or any launches and all. I don't think it's possible for you guys to have an one-on-one conversation for a long time. But here, you guys can defend yourself, you guys can talk about what you feel like, even if you feel the speaker out there or what I am saying is wrong, you can was it? Because even though we all are into this industry or the community, we all have something to learn from every and right? So you guys know who the speaker today is. So how about we start with today's show? For that, thank for coming in on a Thursday evening, and as per a lot of people's request, here on Super Coffees will happen on Sundays, a weekend, so that you guys don't miss it out because of office or traffic. That since you all live in Bangalore, you guys are very well versed in how Bangalore traffic is. Everybody is from Bangalore, right? No, who's not from Bangalore? Where are you from? No, but you're working there, right? Yeah. So you might be knowing how our Bangalore traffic is. You know, you can. You got used to it. You saw? Okay, but again, you're working here. You just moved in. See, you're so lucky that the moment you moved in, well, I mean, an influencer from Mumbai is come to Bangalore. Lucky guy. Well, I think we can start up with the show. Before that, let me introduce you to the team. We have Karan sitting on the registration deck. Karan? So yeah. And then we have Vinod who runs in events and stuff. Then we have our media crew out there. We have Nihal, Aslam, Neeraj. Then at the DJ console we have Haseem. So this is the team for today. If you guys are looking in for any source of revenue, it's not necessary that you have to come and buy from us. You guys need any source of any information. You are free to walk in, coffee, chill with us, spend some time, know about what is your purpose, what you guys want to become. So how about we start with today's event? Before that, where is my team? I mean my regular audience. Can you just ask them to come talk? No one, please. So yeah. Dude, stop being so lazy. Stop calling them. Can you just walk down the stairs? Hey, how many of you guys follow Oggy out here? What's the best part that you like? I think somebody earlier I asked. I mean, yeah, you gave me a very good answer, but keeping that for later. What is the best part that you like about Oggy?
Daily observations.
Okay. Who else? Who do you think is a die-hard fan of Oggy? What makes you guys feel that?
Ones who started off very early, and the way they've continued to extra masala and keeping it just in fact and making it very simple and yet going that point. So that's what makes him, and I think a few others who had started back then also, some of them have not been doing it consistently. Is that one guy who's still consistent in the game and also not adapting to every other changes. That's what makes him.
Anybody else wants to tell or share why you guys still follow Oggy? You guys want to share? How about you guys? You guys follow Oggy, right? What makes you? I mean, why do you follow him?
You would not understand like that, but you have to go and face that, right? So it was very blunt with the people like why, what happened to you, and obviously rights, discipline, and safety. You
want to share something?
conversation, plus the subtle humor and pain also.
One common word that I've heard is originality, keeping it very real. And yes, that is something that inspires me also. I'll be very honest. Like, I started following Oggy today morning when I had to make this clip. But as you all say, I agree on the point. So I think Manoj, ready? Okay, how many of you guys have come to see Oggy? Yeah, how many of you guys have come to see me? Okay, my entire group is over, but still, see, I have my fans also at the same time. Thank you so much for coming in, even though it's a Thursday evening. Put your hands together for the OG Oggy NF in the house for today's Super Coffee session. Guys, a big round of applause. All the gentlemen out here. They have a lot of fan followers. Now, even though they have an office weekend, they have come down.
Thank you so much. I know what pain you have been through to come here because I had to experience Bangalore traffic myself. Thank you so much for coming.
Make yourself comfortable. So, how does it feel? I know you have been going through a proper, the invite and stuff, but how does it feel? Are you nervous?
I know what stalkers feel like now. I've been looking at every single video that they've uploaded of these sessions just to understand what exactly happens over here so I'm not caught by surprise. And I'm sure you have something or the other in store and you guys will probably have some questions as well. Cash most of
Where will you put in the spot? So, you have watched a show before. What is your opinion on this show that we conduct?
I think, see, there's music, there's motorcycle festivals that happen once a year. And I think that's probably sometimes the only occasion where you guys get to interact with some of the people you follow on social media, with some of the motorcycle brands that are like to purchase items from, safety gear from. I think opportunities like this give us all a chance to interact with each other of social media, of course. I try as much, some of you might be here and I've got this quality of messages on Instagram, Facebook or whatever, messages. I've tried my best to reply to everybody's message, but these kind of interactions give us a chance to speak offline.
Yeah, that is what I was saying. Asim, volume. Yeah, that is what I was saying them as well as I'll let you know also. This is the main agenda behind this. Wherein it's, again, I wouldn't tell easy for influencers or moto-vloggers wherein to post the content and let it go. See, everybody, we have to respect everybody's time. But still, the comment box sometimes it goes seen, sometimes it goes unseen, DMs go unseen. That's very common. Obviously, when you have followers over 10k, 20k, or 50k, and you get a lot of DMs and it is not feasible to answer them. This is an opportunity where even if they feel that okay, whatever you have posted is wrong, they can come up with a question and you will have to be ready for the answers. And as I told you, this is a very blunt show. We don't have any curtains in between. And
I've said my prayers before coming on.
no, I mean I wouldn't be that cruel also. I would say keep the things okay, but I won't keep any curtains. As I asked you before also, do you have any sponsors? And you were like, no, you don't work that way.
Go for it.
So let's start with today's show. Are you ready? Okay. So since it's called Super Coffee, would you like to have a coffee? Okay guys, can we have 2 coffees please? And guys, if you guys want to have coffee, the machine is out there. Our team is also there, so you guys can help yourself. They'll serve you the coffees. And as we start, okay, before we start with this event, okay, is Oggy your real name or what's up with this name?
I've been asked this question several times. In fact, a lot of people ask me whether I'm from the south.
Guys, it's audible, right? You guys can hear.
A lot of people ask me whether I'm from the south. Because I think Oggy is a thing more than I'm not sure. But
I mean, Oggy is, we have that cartoon, right? Oggy and the cockroaches.
Not a coincidence. But yeah, so honestly, I came to know about Oggy and the cockroaches only after people started messaging me saying, are you from the cockroach show? What the hell is a cockroach show? So I started searching and I figured out that. Unfortunately, sometimes when you search for Oggy on YouTube, you only get Oggy and the cockroaches. But yeah, maybe in hindsight, I should have chosen a different name. But the history behind Oggy, when I initially started my YouTube account, Google and YouTube weren't exactly linked back in the day. what happened was it asked you to put a first name and a last name. And me being very paranoid said, I don't want to give up all my actual information on YouTube. I play football, those of you who know I play a bit of football. So my close friends call me Oggy. So I said, okay, fine, I'll put Oggy as the first name. And then I didn't want to give up my entire surname, which is Ogden Fernandez. I didn't want to put Fernandez in there. So I just it allowed me to put an initial, so I put F. And then it combined it. And then the YouTube channel started to pick up traction. And I said, okay, maybe I should change. But then it didn't give me the option to change. So I said, yeah, might as well stick with Oggy F.
Can you just check with the volume?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, good. Okay, so Oggy, I have heard a lot of stories about you, wherein you having a twin brother. Can we know a little bit more? How many of you guys know that he has a twin brother? Not bad, they have done a proper research over you. Are they your real stalkers?
I have to charge him now for the followers that he has.
Okay, have you guys got confused with the profile anytime? Alright.
No, there is this one guy who messaged him saying, hey Oggy, he called him, and like on Instagram, his Instagram handle is Father Omar, right? But this guy messaged his Instagram account saying, hey Oggy, I would really like to meet you, and he had this whole conversation with him. So people do get confused.
Yeah, can we know a little bit about your family background?
So yeah, my siblings, I've got a twin brother Omar. He is a priest, which is very strange. Growing up, I never thought he'd become a priest, but here we are. I've got an elder brother, Oswald, who's in Australia. He lives over there. And my mom and Bain at home, my dog. Right? Bain, my editor, right? Yeah, that's my videos. So yeah, that's mostly everyone around.
Okay, so can you tell us what advantage that you have had about having a twin brother?
There's multiple, but I can only share one. I'll share just one.
We don't mind sharing, I mean, even if you want to share a few incidents.
So there's a few, I mentioned two, I think. Because I think that's safe also. This is going on YouTube also, and I'm sure some of you might post this somewhere. But one is in college, so I took commerce, he took arts. And in college, sometimes the lectures used to get boring after the lunch break. So just to spice things up, we used to swap classes over. So I could find out what was interesting in his classroom, he could find out what was interesting in my classroom. The best part about that is even our close friends, the friends who we used to play football with, never really knew that we swapped over. So we used to sit down next to them, have a full-blown conversation in the classroom. No one knew, and then we used to swap back again to the other classroom. The only tricky part was when it was roll call time and we had to put up our hand. So I didn't know what his roll number was. I had to keep on checking, making sure that it was the right time to put up my hand. So that was one. Two is I used him for work as well. So once I wasn't
That
keeping...
was evil. Use him for work.
Yeah. So that's not how it sounds. What I did was I was not keeping too well that day, and I didn't want to. My company at the time said that you have to come to office, show your face, let us know that you are not well, and then head back. So I told Omar to go. And this is before he became a priest. For those of you, he could lie back then. So he went there. He told them that he was me and I was not well, and came back. And yeah. Nobody
knows about it.
Now I think hopefully my manager is not watching this.
And how about your mom? Like, how is she? She's okay with you riding and stuff and motorcycles?
I'll be honest, if I was able to do any of this over the last almost how many years I've been doing this for now, it has been because of her. I think she's held the fort, she's raised us in such a way that we have a very strong value system. I mean, aside from me, my brother's a priest, obviously, so can't really say he's been brought up badly. But my elder brother, my twin brother, and I think, and Bain to some extent also have been brought up with a very strong set of values, and I think it kind of channelizes itself through the kind of content that I put out as well. So you want to see me doing reckless stuff, and you won't see me promoting any bad habits on social media, mainly because of some of the things that she's taught us while she raised us. It's not easy raising 3 boys in a household. It comes with its own challenges, and I hate to say that she's a homemaker or a housewife, because she's so much more than that. She has got all 3 of us well educated. She's got us very strong values, and she continues to guide us in a lot of ways. I don't feature her too much on the channel. Maybe I should, I don't know. But yeah, I think most of the credit goes
Maybe
to
you
her.
should. What's it, guys? Right?
She doesn't like riding motorcycles.
That is what I asked you. Is she okay with you riding
She
motorcycles?
loves me. In fact, I got a message from her last night itself when I reached her. I sent her a message saying I reached safely. So she said, I'm glad to hear that. I'm very proud of you. Just make sure that you're back in one piece again. So I think
Obviously, she will be back in one piece. You're not coming for one more year, right? But still, we will get connected to her, I hope. Next question. Okay, a lot of people told that you are started. I mean, you told that you started motorcycling very late, right? So I wanted to know that when did you start motorcycling and how did the journey begin?
So I started pretty late compared to some of you guys. I think I started at the age of 23 years, and it was purely out of necessity. While I always liked motorcycles, growing up I was telling some of the guys earlier also that if you look at any of my school and college books, on the last page you have drawings of motorcycles on it. So I always liked motorcycles, but I never had the chance to ride one. And again, there were neighbors of mine, friends of mine who I ride with now as well, who used to have a lot of motorcycles growing up. For me, it purely became a necessity because when I started working, there was this organization that I was working with back then, which had a home pickup and a home drop facility. And the pickup wasn't so much of a problem, but the drop was a problem because I had to, the company had a policy that if there was a female employee in the cab, then a male employee had to accompany them. And the last drop was with the male employee. So, and if there was no male employee in that location to be dropped off, then there'd be a security guard which would send them. So basically they were exploiting as a security guard. But what happened was I realized that a direct home road from point A to point B, if it was a straight line, this became a complete circuit of Mumbai and then I reached home. So 30 minutes from work took me about 45-50 minutes sometimes, and that's eating up into my time. I'm not saying safety of women is not important, please don't spread this thing. It is, but we are not security guards, I'm not trained to handle the situation. So I reached out to a friend and I asked him if he could help me learn to ride a motorcycle. Majid, if you're watching this, shout out to you. He taught me to ride a Pulsar 180 back in the day. And in hindsight, he wasn't the best trainer, but I told him that several times. I learned to ride that. I then I bought my first motorcycle and then I started commuting to work and back. And I realized it was a big challenge at the time, and that's eventually what led me to my journey of YouTube. So, yeah, that's
Which was the first motorcycle you got?
First ever motorcycle I bought was a Yamaha FZS. I never showed it on the channel, I don't think I have. This was before the R15 also, that was my first motorcycle, and then I was here.
So you have always been a Yamaha fan, is it?
Not really. I think at the time there was that and the R15, which were the standard motorcycles in the market. So I didn't want a fully faired motorcycle at the time. I wanted to be able to have something which I can drop and not cry about having to replace it, the fairing. So I got the...
When you started riding, did you ever think, okay, like, you would have a fan base for you, people would look up to you?
No, in fact, even when I started YouTube as well, even now I'm pinching myself, seeing how many of you guys have shown up here in Bangalore for this to meet me. But when I started, I think I just started putting out videos purely for my own entertainment and to kind of keep a documentation of what I've been going through in life. One of my friends, Parza Andarwala, he reached out to me saying, hey, I've seen you post pictures on Facebook, you ride motorcycles, why don't you come join us? We have a bigger group called the Brotherhood of Tourists. And I said, okay, fine. So then I started doing a few breakfast weekend rides with them. Then slowly I started moving out of Mumbai and then further and further and further. And that's how the channel eventually got to where it was. So yeah, I never got into it with the intention of becoming famous, to want to call it that. But I always wanted to make sure that I put out videos for my own recreation, my own records.
Tell me something, like what is the whole motive behind your vlogs? What are you trying to tell your audience?
So I think a lot of people, the message while it's remained the same, I think the way I showed it kind of changed. Because I remember a few years ago in the initial stages, I met someone at, I think it was a power drift meetup way back in the day in Pune. And I met someone, I probably had maybe around 5 or 10,000 followers at the time. This guy comes up to me and he was talking with me. And midway through the conversation, he said, "Hey, you know what? I think you're a really chill guy to talk with." So I said, "Yeah, why?" He said, "No, I always thought you'd be a very stern person, always wonder about the rules and this and that, and you show me the main thing or something like that." And I said, "No, that's not who I am." And I realized that people on the internet will perceive you for what they see of you on the internet. So at the time, all I was doing was like showing a middle finger to people who were driving Bangalore. And I said, "Oh shit, maybe I should change the way I put my message across." Then I started to upload videos which had a little bit of humor to it. So the Bad Mumbai Driver series, if you watch the first video to now, you'll see it's hopefully a change in what has happened. But I try to infuse more humor to that so that while the messaging is the same, that you should be a little more cautious yourself while riding on the road. And other road users who are watching that should be a little more sensitive to the problems that motorcyclists and other road users face. The message has been the same. I think how I've delivered that message has been tweaked over time, just to be a little more audience friendly and viewer friendly.
I mean, so during your school days, college days, you never rode a motorcycle?
No.
And you didn't feel bad, like you would have had classmates who come in motorcycles and stuff, right?
So we have mainly two friends who used to come to college. One guy on a scooter, so I never really looked at him and said, "Oh wow, he's on a scooter." It didn't really catch my eye or whatever. But another friend, his dad owns a garage which was very famous and still is pretty famous now for repairing superbikes. And at the time there was really no one repairing and servicing superbikes. He used to get like a CBR 1000, CBR 600 back in the day, and these were ruled over. But it's not something that I wanted to have at the time because I knew it came with a lot of responsibility as well. And at the time I had a lot of focus on my studies and on football. So I think those were taking up most of my time. I don't think motorcycle was something I would have done.
You still play football?
I still play football.
Okay, since you have been into the motovlogging industry from a long time now, how much it's been, about 7 years? How is the growth back then and back now? What is your opinion?
My growth or growth in
No,
general?
the overall, the
Oh.
industry growth.
So one of the conversations that I was having with a few other content creators some time ago was, you see,
keep the mic.
oh sorry, can you hear me? What happens is I've seen that there's been a shift in the type of content that comes out, and to some extent I think we are also, the initial batch of moto-vloggers are also partially to blame for that, and I'll tell you why. Originally, if you see some of the videos that we put out, it was very raw, very little editing done to it. We'd be telling our side the story most of the time. As we start to gain traction and as our influence, so to speak, started to grow a little bit more, I think motorcycle brands started to realize that also. And we then started getting invited for launch events. And I remember there was this one post on Facebook. Is it okay if I extend the story like a little bit? There's this one story or one post on Facebook which had, I won't mention his name, but there was this one content creator. He was a motovlogger at the time. He and another famous YouTuber who was not a motovlogger at the time, they put together a review of the Domina. Now the way they went about it was probably not in the best light, but it was just a two of them sitting on a couch, and probably today you call that a podcast, but back in the day I don't think you call it. It was just a two of them talking about buying the Domina, what are the pros and the cons. No riding videos, not even an overlay picture of the bike shown on the screen, nothing. And some automotive journalists shared that on their Facebook page, and it just blew up. So what started to happen is a lot of journalists at the time started saying, "Who does this guy think he is? These content creators think this of themselves, that of themselves. They don't know what riding is and this and that." And please don't get me wrong. I have the utmost respect for automotive journalists. I've been in their position multiple times to see the kind of He came in there saying, "Guys, just listen. If this is what is getting us views, getting the current content creators views, and it's around motorcycling, maybe it's not the right way to go about doing it, but maybe it's a time for us to sit back and just think about how we want to create our content." It's something to that tune. I'm not quoting the exact words he said. And I think post that you would have seen a lot of people somewhat create content which was similar to ours. We started then getting invited for events, and I literally know a very popular auto journalist who, for the first time, when Tushar introduced me to this gentleman, I won't say his name of course, I'll probably tell you offline. When he introduced me to him, Tushar introduced me to him saying, "Hey XYZ, this is Oggy. He's one of the nice moto-vloggers out here." This guy turns around and says, "Oh, I didn't even know something like that existed. But hi, my name is so and so." So there was this very clear tension between journalists back in the day and us. And obviously, if your job is kind of somewhat in threat, you feel a little bit apprehensive about having someone else.
What do you feel is that fine line that you're talking about between a journalist and a moto-vlogger?
Yeah, so I think the line started to get grayed out between content creator and journalist because we were all at the same events eventually. Now, what also happened is there's embargoes, right? So journalists are bound by these embargoes because I've seen it happen.
You guys know what embargoes are, right?
So you get a certain amount of time basically to put out the content. Everyone puts it out only at this time. Between year and year, you can create your video, and then on this date, everyone, journalists, bloggers, whoever you are, put out your video over here. So journalists at the time were bound by these embargoes because they were getting invited to the event, they were signing documents and everything, and then it happened. Vloggers, on the other hand, we were not being invited for all of the events, but the bikes were available at the showroom. So vloggers were going to the showroom, and I've not done this personally, but vloggers were going to the showroom, riding the bikes, putting out the reviews before journalists could. So then it became a bigger revolt as well. And I know instances where journalists had contacted the brand and asked them to have the vlogger take down the video, and the vloggers had to because his connections with the brand also get impacted because of that. So there was a lot of I wouldn't call it rivalry, but there was a lot of misunderstanding between the journalists and the content creators. Eventually what happened is we're all now at the same event. So like I said, like the line got blurred. We were all in the same thing. And now what you're seeing is, it's like the originality, I think, of the kind of content that if I was given just a free hand and doing whatever I had, is kind of taken away from me. Because now I'm observing what everyone else is doing, and I'm saying, oh, he's getting used to that, then he wants to do that. So the moment a motorcycle gets released, I see at least, and I'm not even joking, I see at least 10 exhaust note videos on the internet. And they're from automotive publications, they're from vloggers, they're from fashion influencers also. Suddenly they've also been invited for it, and I think that's a new rivalry now, motorcycle content creators.
Yeah, I mean, we have a separate segment, we have stunt riders or athletes, then we have influencers, then we have lifestyle influencers. I mean, a recent experience I would also like to share. Yeah, recently for a commercial and testing of the motorcycle, we had 3 days of shoot. And 3 days I met all 3 types of influencers, and I mean, social media people out there.
Yeah, so I think what I realized over time is that you can't always, and I know someone said when he was asking you guys why do you all follow me, someone said that his content has been consistent. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing at this stage. Because I think there has to be some level of evolution that takes place in the content because the landscape is changing altogether. Right? I can't be doing what a journalist is doing. Journalists ideally shouldn't be doing what I'm doing because they are bound by their own standards and stuff as well, right? So, and then a fashion influencer, I don't know what they're doing. But
I mean, does it even make sense? A lifestyle influencer coming in for an automotive?
I asked the same question, but I spoke with a lot of PR people from a few brands, and their explanation kind of made sense to me because
what was their explanation?
So if you look at the way a lot of motorcycles are being pitched now, so for example, the Hunter 350, it's an entry-level bike into the Royal Enfield space. But the way the commercials were put out is it was a very lifestyle product, right? It's not something that you take hard to off-roading or go to Ladakh with and all. They've never advertised it like that. It's more of a lifestyle product. Because of which they think that the fashion influencers who have a connected audience that would prefer a lifestyle product over a functional product have been invited. You and I will never be able to make sense. I can see it on your face.
Yeah.
But to marketing people, it makes sense. And if they're saying, if they continue to invite them, then I'm guessing it has some play in their numbers as well. It's benefiting them in whatever way.
So basically, it is not the right answer that I would ever expect being an automotive enthusiast. But do you agree with it, Oggy?
with fashion influencers getting invited to them? See, if they can ride a motorcycle and then they talk about it, I can say fine, yeah.
Because what I felt was wrong here is that, look, for a person who wants to pick up a motorcycle, I mean, who really wants to ride it, don't you think he will be picking up a wrong motorcycle just by getting amazed with the way they podcast? Because I have always seen a lifestyle influencer, the way they make the content is way better than how an automotive creator does. Agree, right? I mean, they bring in a lot of colors, lot of features and stuff, but they won't be speaking the actual facts about the motorcycle. But when it comes to influencers, or moto-vloggers, or journalists, they speak on point where it can be used, how it can be used. So a person who's confused between two motorcycles, he wouldn't go wrong, right? Chances of him picking up the wrong motorcycle is very less if he is following an automotive enthusiast than following a lifestyle influencer. What do you think?
But that's the thing. I think you deserve what you go for, right? If you're watching fashion influencers and looking for motorcycle content to pick a bike, then I think you deserve what motorcycle you get. And if you're suffering with it, then that's what you asked for. But if you're really concerned about certain things about motorcycles, if you're looking at content creators and your searches obviously hit the right results, then I think you make a wise decision. So, in my opinion, I mean, invite whoever you want for these events, but my only advice to the PR and marketing team to also analyze the impact it has on the overall industry. And again, for a motorcycle company, sales is what's important, right? So if these guys are doing the job for them, then fair enough, invite them. But if they have zero needle movement in your sales and impact on your reach and getting to your customers, then I don't think it makes sense for them. I'm sure there'll be some sort of analysis done at some point by these brands, but yeah, until then we'll have to.
I'll tell you a recent incident that happened at my home, wherein my brother, he wanted to pick up a superbike, and he showed her a couple of 600cc categories. He showed her the 6Rs, then the Daytonas. He wanted to pick up a used bike. I don't know, but where my mom had seen a V-Force, a Ducati V-Force video or photo. She comes up and she's like, no, go for this. I mean, she doesn't know what our purpose is. Yeah, I mean, all that she went was through the aesthetics of the bike. I mean, obviously, Ducati's videos are amazing. Anyone would fall in love. But a person who deals with the Ducati, how does it feel to ride a Ducati in Bangalore traffic? You yourself came in on a Ducati, right?
All this time I was saying it doesn't heat up, but Bangalore traffic finally broke it. I think it heated up a little bit.
So exactly, so we know it. But if I tell mom that okay, the bike heats up a lot, it won't get into her. They know the bike looks good. But on purpose, if we see, yeah, even the 6Rs are beautiful, they are no less. So that is where I felt okay, just by showing the aesthetics of a motorcycle, it doesn't serve the purpose somewhere. What do you guys think? True, right? So that is, I mean, I spoke, I'll take out the brand's name. I mean, yeah, the last shoot was with Ether, wherein I saw the lifestyle vloggers coming. I asked them, good, I mean, what's the whole point of getting them? And you just wanted to test the bike, right? That is when even I got a very unsatisfied answer. It's fine. Again, we can't tell anything. Everybody, end of the day, wants business.
I think these are looked at more as ads than anything else. I don't think they're looked as informative videos for people to make their buying decisions on this. They realize that these people have the reach, they put out an ad for it, so to speak, and then that's all they get from it. So I don't know.
Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask?
I guess it depends on the target audience.
Yeah, pretty much more.
So all this content that is being promoted right now, it is more focused on day-to-day average Joes. So it is more of an advertisement focus rather than ride focus. So all the videos we are seeing right now, it is more of bike reviews. We see every single review every single week. Like any new video that pops up, it's about a new bike launch or a new bike video. Nothing is about the journey anymore. It's straying away from the actual motorcycling than what is being told.
So, bro, tell me something. Okay, wait. I have a question for you. What bike does your dad ride?
My dad doesn't ride a bike.
He doesn't ride. Okay, anybody, elderly person from your family, what bike?
Probably a commuter.
Activa or a Jupiter?
Activa, yes.
did they actually see these lifestyle influencers videos and did they pick up the bike? No, right?
They went to the actual store and they figured out what is right for them on their own. It did not require them particular person to promote the value. Right? If a particular product has a value, it will automatically attract people.
You have anything to say on that?
No, I think someone was telling me earlier as well that Bangalore people are very different from the rest of the market because they do a lot of research before they come to buy anything. And I think that's the way most of us should behave. Me personally, even when I picked my car, the Nexon, I must have gone through 100 videos from multiple channels and then made my buying decision along with it. While I took the top variant without the sunroof because it made no sense to have a sunroof in Mumbai. Why would I want to suffer in that heat? And who was putting my head on the counter? But I agree with your point that people who make buying decisions of other people's opinions, and I keep on saying that in my reviews as well. I said this is my opinion about it. Please, you go and test out the bike yourself. See what works best for you. Because I remember people slamming the Adventure 390 that I bought when it was launched. A lot of people said, "Oh, this is not in the seat height. This is spoke wheels, this, that, and everything." And I knew that was going to be my next motorcycle within the first minute of me riding it for the media ride. In fact, I had taken my RC 390 for the media ride. There was a bit of gravel leading up to the place where the event was happening. First thing I do is I take the bike out as I'm coming out of the place through that gravel. The bike felt really easy to ride on that. Granted, better suspension, different frame and subframe and better tires, but once we hit tarmac, within a minute and a half, I knew, okay, fine, this is what I want as my next bike. And people could say whatever they want, but I knew that these are the things that I wanted from a motorcycle, and I checked all the right boxes. In hindsight, that video had me doing some horrible off-roading, but it's a learning for all of us. I think what I liked the most about the Adventure 390 is that it challenged me way more than the other bikes did at the time, but it also made me love it and on how it behaved on the road. So I knew that was going to be my next bike. So while people were slamming the 390 Adventure for multiple things, I said this is the bike that I want, and I went with it because I knew that these are the things that make me happy in a motorcycle, and they continue. And whenever you are deciding on a motorcycle, listen to other people's opinions, but make your choice yourself, right? Because they are not going to come and pay your service bills. They are not going to pay your hospital bills in case you are not able to handle your bike and an accident. They are not going to do anything for you. They are just there to give their opinions. And even we, for that matter, are just there to give our opinions. But it's your decision at the end of the day. You have to live with it. We don't have to live with it. So make your own choice.
You guys have any other questions that you guys want to ask?
I last met you in Mumbai, if you remember.
I met you at the rallies. Yes.
So I just have 3 questions. First one.
One thing, looks like you're from UP or something, right?
No, I can't.
Yeah, so how are you here?
I was in Bombay with my friends. I was just hanging out there.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm working in Bangalore.
He was hanging out there, now he's hanging here.
So 3 questions. First of all, like after you sold Rage, I really didn't expect you to go for an EDV. So like you must have got a second opinion about a second bike apart from an EDV. I thought you'd go for a super bike. So like what's a super bike, like a leader bike you were eyeing? And the second question is like in your YouTube, there's been like gaps, and whenever your video comes, like pops up everywhere, like everyone's like, oh, Oggy's back. So just want to know like what's the new territory you're exploring apart from daily observations, or when you take a ride out on a bike or a new bike you've gone for an event or something like that.
Yeah.
And the third question is like since you've already taken the 390 now, the ADV, so like you shared a video on Instagram regarding ATMs, there was a video where you shared like, you know, it's a new tech. Like, and right now people buying that guy. I saw the entire video. So like he explained very nicely like what's wrong. And there were some problems with the shaft and like nuts and bolts and like parts inside the engine which like will corrupt abroad.
On the 790.
Yeah. So like what do you think like right now if it doesn't make it back to the streets, ATM, like are people doing the right thing by still buying it or like should we stop?
So I'll answer question by question. So there's 3, right? In case I forget the second and the third, I'm answering the first question. So first, my buying decision, I never had a leader class motorcycle in my mind, and that's thanks to the wonderful road conditions that we have back in Mumbai. I wouldn't want to put a bike through that rubbish. I wouldn't want to put myself through that. The closest to a bigger motorcycle that I was considering at the time was a friend of mine was selling his Street Triple 675. Very well kept. I knew it was not going to have any problems. It was between that, it was between the 390 Adventure and the V-Storm 650 that I rode to Nagpur as well. I was considering buying that as well because that also ticked most of the right boxes. The shortcomings of the V-Storm 650 was I knew that there's going to be an update very soon. Now, in terms of what's available to the bike, the instrument console was a bit dated. It had mostly analog stuff, very basic visual stuff. ABS, traction control, okay, but when there's another motorcycle on the horizon, there's going to be considerable updates. And if you get a chance to ride the V-Storm 800DE, please take that opportunity with both hands. It's a really nice motorcycle to ride. We had it on the racetrack, brilliant bike. The shortcomings for the 675, I knew there was going to be a 765 launch. I think it was already launched at the time, I can't remember very clearly, but I knew the 675 was dated as it is. And the ground clearance isn't great on the 675. There were a lot of people who were cracking their sound when they went to potholes and speed breakers, and I knew that was going to be an issue. From a content perspective, the KTM also made most sense. And apart from the fact that I loved the motorcycle and how it handled and what all it came with, at the time, if you look at any motorcycle that had cornering, ABS, lean sensitive traction control, it had the suspension elements that the 390 Adventure had, it had connectivity, so turn-by-turn navigation. There was a big gap between where the KTM sat and then I think somewhere where Tigers and all were sitting, which were offering similar level of electronics, maybe not as sophisticated, but similar level of electronics and stuff. In terms of, in terms of hardware and what came with the motorcycle. Additionally, I knew that there'll be a plethora of accessories that would come for this motorcycle. So in case there was something I didn't like about it, I could just change it whenever I wanted. Big Rock Dirt Park made a lot of protective parts which they sent me. There's, I think, fuel X is available also now to tweak the engine around if I need to change the fuel and air mixture. Multiple tire options around different brands in the sizes for the 390 Adventure. KTM themselves then launched the sport wheel version, so there was now adjustable suspension available both front and back if I want to change that. So I looked at all of these things to come into consideration, and I think the biggest deciding factor was the fact that if I drop the motorcycle, I don't need to worry about breaking the bank to repair it and having to have it sit in the showroom for a long time to wait for parts to arrive. With the Suzuki and with the Van at the time, I was not so confident about it. And that's why, and I already had an experience with the KTM, I knew how things worked with them. I knew people from the service center, so it became an easy buy for me from them. So that was, does that answer question 1? Question 2 was around, sorry, you said something about content.
So YouTube channel, so like, what is something you are trying to explore apart from your rides and like
During gaming.
daily observations?
No, what I started to do is, I remember there was this content creator named Dan the Fireman. If you ever get a chance to watch his channel, please do. He was based out of Las Vegas, I believe. He was a first responder, so he used to handle cases where there were accidents. He used to get on the scene first and make sure that people are safe and okay to be treated at the time. What his channel eventually evolved into was he now observes videos where crashes have taken place and he breaks it down as to why this crash has happened. In addition to that, you'd see the first reaction for people to go and say, hey, what happened, it's not picking you up and moving you around. And that's probably the worst thing to do in a situation like that. And he calls it out as well. And he talks about if their head is rolled backwards, if their eyes are like, you can just see the white in their eyes, you can't see the retina, then chances are they're probably unconscious. And he talks about what you should be doing as a civilian at that time to make sure that when the first responders get there, they're safe and they're at least alive and you've not done more harm than good. Your intention might be right, but you probably mess things up by doing that. His channel was one of the channels which I watched, and initially what he used to have is these funny call-outs with a dinosaur and a dog or something like for the other features. And they used to troll him while he was vlogging. I've added Bane as a character in my vlogs now, and to add a little bit of humor because I realized my regular vlogs may not have that much humor that I would want to. And at the time, I might not have been able to crack the joke that I thought of later. I should have cracked that earlier. So then I use Dane wherever possible. Of course, he makes fun of me and in the listen, but yeah, I think that's something I'm experimenting with. I don't know how many of you guys like this. Raise your hand for like please go for it. Quite a few. So that's something I'm trying out with. With this Bangalore ride, I think someone who's moved to Canada now messaged me saying the video that I posted about my ride to Bangalore the last time on the Benelli. He said that's a video that he keeps on watching over and over and over again. And he said what he likes about it was the ride part of it, but then also the parts where I share a little bit about my life and my experiences as well, and a few quotes and this and that. He said, please, by all means, if you are doing this again, make sure that you make it in a similar format. So my plan is to make a similar kind of long vlog content when I do these longer rides. Let's see how that works out. And yeah, that's the plan. Those are the things that I'm trying to try out differently. And your last question was around?
Regarding KTM.
Oh yeah, KTM's bankruptcy.
What is your question on that?
See, I wouldn't worry, in India at least, I wouldn't worry about KTM. Don't quote me on this, I'll make some meme video later on and something, we said this and now KTM bankrupt, we're all in the dumps. But from what
That you should be warning the media team sitting there.
Okay, yeah, please edit this out in case it goes viral.
Boys, for you only this was.
Don't let this reach meme stage.
You three only.
So in India, I wouldn't worry so much because Bajaj is practically there to pick up the pieces in case KTM falls. Moreover, the only concern I as a consumer have about KTM in India is if Bajaj or when Bajaj takes over their operations in India, will they do justice to the KTM brand or will they then now sort of cannibalize the technology into Bajaj's technology? Would we get better Bajaj bikes and would Bajaj do justice to the KTM ready-to-race brand? Right? That's the only concern I have. I don't think KTM is going anywhere. There's a lot of people, BMW are waiting to take them over. Bajaj is here in India waiting to take them over. Who knows who will get them at the end of it if things don't work out. My only concern about what happens next, and again this is as a fanboy of KTM, I don't know if I should say that, but yeah, this is as a consumer of KTM, my only concern is their focus, if it shifts into the wrong direction, it may be detrimental to their own growth. I've seen posts where they say that they've slashed the 200 segment or something like that, they're focusing on 125cc bikes which are more commuter friendly. But no one who's in the 100cc commuter friendly category is looking at a KTM and saying, hey, I want that to ride to work and back every day. I don't think that's their intention. So if that pivot doesn't work too well for them, then I think they're doomed. The other concern I had was, and again I've not had a chance to ride the new 390 Adventure just yet, is there's a lot of hope running on the new 390 Adventure. I think in the midst of all this chaos that's going on with KTM, everyone expects this to be that bike which kind of turns things around for them. And I'm not saying this because I own the old 390 Adventure. Again, I'm saying that I've not got a chance to ride the new 390 Adventure. From what I've gathered from all of the reviews that are online, there's vibrations, the pillion seal is practically non-existent, and while it's great for off-roading, it's brilliant compared to the previous Gen 390 for off-roading. People say that it's not, and it's not me, but people are saying that it's not a great touring motorcycle. Until I have a chance to ride it, I wouldn't know for sure. But if that's the case, then it's a step in the enthusiast direction, because then it becomes a bespoke bike for people who want to take it off-road and want something that you can bash around on the trails and stuff, but everything else it might not do as well as the previous Gen 390. And we all know how that's worked out in the past, because if you look at the way the 390 Adventure was launched, a lot of people started this hue and cry about, oh, why doesn't it have spoke wheels, how is it an off-road bike and no spoke wheels and this and that, why no adjustable suspension? And when it eventually got offered with spoke wheels and adjustable suspension, I only saw two in Mumbai. I don't know if you guys have seen more. So if you start catering to a niche audience who are demanding that, and you're taking your bike completely off-road focused, then you might use it on the people who actually use it daily. And I got the Adventure 390 with the whole and sole purpose of learning how to go off-road. But guess what? I have not had the opportunity to do so. There might be plenty of people like that as well. I think an adventure tourer like the 390X makes sense, but I believe it doesn't get cruise control. And I don't know, I think adjustable suspension also is something that they've not included. I'm not too sure about it. Don't quote me on that. Alloys are still fine, because on the highway you don't need to do that. But even the old 390, I hate to call it the old 390, but the Gen 1 390 doesn't have, it comes with alloys, but I've seen Ashish Raurani bash the hell out of that bike off-road, and he's never complained about the wheels breaking. I don't think anyone has actually managed to crack that. If Ashish can't crack it, I sure as hell can't crack the
Which one? The ADV?
The 390 ADV, yeah.
There are people who have cracked it.
Okay, but their skill level is obviously way more than mine off-road, so I wouldn't. I as a consumer, with what I put my bike through, I know that I'm okay with that. But yeah, it comes back to the point, right, that make the buying decision based on what you think is right for your use of the motorcycle, not based on what the extremists and the complete or enthusiasts think about the motorcycle. Figure if it's right for you, buy it. To finally end the question, I don't think KTM is in deep trouble. I don't think we are in deep trouble if anything happens to KTM. Bajaj, BMW, someone will take them over. We'll still get good bikes. How good? I don't know. Buy a KTM today, maybe you're safe. It's not the same thing for KTM.
Any other question, guys? Anybody wants to ask something?
Yeah.
Please.
Hello. I had a RC390 before. I had a R15. This is a super sport. Usually use that regular, right? What made you switch to the ADV tour?
Mumbai roads mainly. But see, I believe I rode the RC390 for 7 years and I had it. I learned a lot. I think one thing KTMs will teach you is you learn a lot about the motorcycle as well, because obviously there'll be things which go wrong every now and then. And when I used to take my bike to the service center, I used to observe what these guys used to do with the bike, so that in case something happens on your ride, you don't have to rely on having it towed to the service center to get it repaired, right? Basic fixes, at least basic maintenance you understand. With the RC390, I learned quite a bit of the motorcycle. Of course, not to the extent that I opened the engine and put it back together, but most of the stuff that I need if I'm going for a long ride. I reached a stage where the RC390 became more of a hindrance to my learning of motorcycles than anything else, because while I had experience on the racetrack, while I had a lot of experience touring, I needed something that made all of that experience a little more valuable to me, and I could move one stage ahead. So I realized off-roading was what I needed to learn more of, because track I've learned, I never stopped learning, but I've learned more than what I need for now at least. I wanted to add off-roading to my abilities as well, and that's why I got into the adventure tourer. But I want to be able to tour longer distances a little more comfortably, and I think that was a bigger reason to buy the 390 adventure. It was more comfortable, it could do longer distances easily. None of us are getting younger, so I said let's just stop putting my back through that and start touring on an adventure bike instead.
Age is also an
What was that?
Age is also an answer, right?
Age is an answer, yeah, of course. One of my friends asked me, why did you buy an uncle bike?
Any other? Somebody raise your hand.
Howdy. I wanted to ask you two things. First of all, do you have like a specific milestone for your YouTube channel? And the second thing I'd like to ask is how do you balance YouTube, work, football, every other hobbies and motorcycles?
Before that, what do you do as a profession? I mean, is
Yeah, that also, like what do you do for work?
So I head the learning and development team for a student lending financial services company. So it sounds like jargon, right? They say make your job title as complicated as possible so people don't ask you more questions. But basically what I do is I'm part of the training team in an organization. So if there's new processes or there's skills that a specific department need to understand better, they come to us, ask us for assistance on how they can give out this information to their teams without causing too much confusion. We figure out what's the best way to take it forward. Is it an online e-learning platform? Is it a trainer-led classroom session? Is it a virtual session? Whatever. Is it just basically a printout or something you need to circulate across the team and stuff like that? And then we design the training and design how that information is then passed on through different levels. It sounds very boring. I made it sound interesting earlier. But yeah, that's my 9 to 5, so to speak. So your question was around how do I balance all this?
Yeah.
Oh, any specific goal for my YouTube channel? No. I think when I started this also, I was surprised that so many people watched it. I think it blew up after there was that Ride for Safety crash video, right? I think back in the day, I think everyone came to my channel because of that thing. Hey, this guy proposed crash today. I think unfortunately now also, whenever I put my camera on, someone crashes it on. So I can't say that they are wrong at this point. But yeah, but as the channel started to grow, I don't think I had any milestone as such, because I've seen videos previously where people wait next to the screen and they say, hey, 1001, 1002, and it's growing, and I don't see the point in doing something like that. My content has never been for fame. It's why I hid my face for most of the time earlier. The only reason I revealed my face is because I realized that I was probably just fooling myself, that people didn't know who I am. People were doing Google reverse image searches back in the day and then finding out what my actual Facebook account was. So I said, instead of ruining it by letting other people reveal what my face looks like, I might as well do it myself on moto-vlog for the cause. And yeah, so I never had any milestones. Even now, I don't think I've looked at my subscriber count as well. I know that I look at my analytics every now and then, but I don't look at subscriber count. Are my followers increased or not? It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me more is when people come up to me at I mean, this event being an exception, but at IBW, at Motoverse, at Motosoul, and they say, I watch your videos, I learned a lot from this, I watched your videos, I understood that what I was doing was wrong and I changed my behavior. I had someone DM me the other day saying from an ex-chapri, saying you converted me into a responsible rider, and saying I just wanted to let you know that makes a world of difference to me. And I think those are the if there's milestones that I want to achieve, I think I want more of those kind of conversations because it helps the community, it helps people ride more responsibly. And if you're riding responsibly, you're living longer. So you guys owe your lives to me. How do I manage all of it? My girlfriend says I don't, but to contradict what she says, I usually try and edit my videos later in the day. So my regular 9:30 to 6:30 work life is pretty hectic. I realized that recording my ride from work and back, to work and back rather, made a lot of sense, and that's why the daily observation of Bad Mumbai Driver series, as we call it, is getting more and more popular, and it's easier for me to edit those videos also. But I spend my day at work, then I come back, I either go to play football or meet a few of my friends. And then at night is when I stay up and I edit my videos. So I think that is the time between say 10 o'clock to I stay up pretty late till about 2 o'clock is when I'm editing. So if you guys have seen me responding late to your messages, I'm not trying to send any signals or anything. It's just that I'm up that late, so I respond that way. Yeah, that's how my day goes. So balancing it is tough, but I've now started to decide on what dates. Earlier I used to play football whenever my friends were playing football. But now I keep my Wednesdays free to play with my friends, and my brother also joins us. We all play football together on Wednesdays. Weekends I used to for family time and to meet, catch up with friends. And during the week, late at night is when I edit my videos, which is why you see me edit and then upload on Tuesdays, because I realize everyone, working crowd, Monday is a busy day, Tuesday is easier, right? So you come home, you're stressed from work, bosses said something, let's watch an Oggy video and take out our frustration in the comments. Tuesday work. But I think Saturday morning has worked better now. I don't know how that has happened, but I'll see. I'll try out different combinations to see which one works better, and I'll upload it. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Thank you. Gentleman in the back, yes. Oh, sorry. We get to.
Did you get any message from any random person that you showed in your bag that was you showed me?
Yeah, I knew that guy who sent me. Have I ever gotten hate comments of a specific person? Dude, I've had people come to my doorstep. Yeah. And I don't know if I should say this. He'll probably show up again in my doorstep. But years ago, there was this video of Mr. Honks a Lot. People who've been on the channel for a while. Basically, it was this guy who was driving in traffic, no helmet obviously. His wife or partner, whoever was sitting behind him, something happened between him and I think the rickshaw guy was at the signal on the red light. This guy shows up behind him and just continuously honks and honks and honks. And I try to tell him, hey, what are you doing? He looks at me and he just continues honking. But his partner or wife tells him, what are you doing? Stop honking. I put up that video as Sir Honks a Lot. Sir Honks a Lot. It got whatever views it got back in the day. Now, because this guy lives in Bangalore as well, about 15 minutes from where I live, his friend circle and my friend circle are somewhat connected. I used to play football with some of his friends. Those guys for at least 3 years told me, we always, whenever we catch up with this guy, we always watch that video and laugh. And I had no idea who that guy is until these guys told me that he lives in their area or whatever. And they said we always have a laugh about it. So I thought, oh, fine, he's also cool about it, they're also cool about it. It's just a video that they laugh about. Randomly, one day, this guy showed up in my doorstep and I opened it and I said, Mr. Thompson is here. So he said, hey, you know who I am? So I said, no, I don't know who you are. I said, I know where I've seen you. He said, yeah, your video has destroyed my life. And so I said, what do you mean? I said, this was 5 years ago. I said, what has it done to you? So he said, no, I mean, while I'm not saying, I have to be very careful when they show up on my doorstep again.
I'm pretty sure he won't be watching this.
Yeah, he's not a fan, that's for sure. He won't be watching. But, so he said, what I eventually got to know later on, he said, I'm going to go and complain to the cops. I said, complain about what? That you were honking in public and someone got a video. But there was no sense, sense trying to knock any logic in me. He was basically pissed off due to some personal matter that came up later, and one of our common friends told me about it. I took the video down because I didn't want his personal life to get offended by something as silly as honking on the road. It's not that I'm earning millions from a video like that. What happened is his wife, and that was his wife at the back of him, his wife's parents, so basically his in-laws, didn't like the guy to begin with. They then saw this video somewhere 5 years later and they said, what kind of jerk you married? And they started to give him grief about that later. Now, his immediate knee-jerk reaction was not, oh shit, maybe I should mend my ways. His immediate knee-jerk reaction, let's go to the guy's house who uploaded this video and trouble him about it. Either way, what I started doing afterwards, and this is something that I try to do in the Bad Mumbai Driver series as well. If you've noticed, I've blurred plates and I've blurred faces as well, right? Sometimes I don't even include that in the video. In this recent crash video that I recorded, I only reported the number plate to the cops. I didn't show the number plate in the video. And that's why I took down the Instagram's video and I re-uploaded it as well and I put the caption over there. It's being handled by the authorities. My hope is that people see this video somewhere down the line, they realize they've made a mistake, they mend their ways. And then there's no reminder of that video with their face and their number plate so that people say, hey, that's you in the video that you're being a jackass. I hope that people can change their ways and become better road users. Right? The reality may be different, but I blur the plates in the hope that I don't have to deal with these people coming to my doorstep one and that they mend their ways somewhere down the future as well. So that's why. Oh wow. Thank you.
Hi Oggy. Welcome back to.
Oh, there was someone in the back. After you came in, the guy at the back.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. And firstly, welcome back to Number Bangalore. And secondly, shout out to guys at 6K IIM because I have been seeing this place since the inception because we had hosted weekend nights for weekend rides, very beginning, I think 2016 or 2017, something like that. Almost a decade ago.
Wicked Rides, I mean a rental company, right?
Yeah.
I think I've performed once a show also for you guys in Dayanand Sagar College.
Maybe. Yeah. So back when Subhash was here, we had a weekend night.
I don't remember because I got a sudden call wherein you guys were showcasing your bikes at Dayanand Sagar.
I'm not part of the company right now.
Okay. No, I'm talking about back then.
Yeah.
Because from stunt riding days, they wanted a rider to come in, so I had to go. Remember that.
So back to the topic, and questions to you would be, you are one of those guys who started off with motorcycling and then the content creating part or the content creation segued into it, right? And today, you are, I don't know if you agree with the term called content creator or influencer, but the transition has happened, right? But most of the youth today are starting off with content creators first and then using motorcycling as a way into it. So what was it back then, maybe a decade ago? How is it now? And how do you see the whole motorcycling / content creation maybe 10 years down the lane? That's one. And I think I forgot the next one. Maybe if you're happy to answer.
I'll make it a long answer so you have time to think about it.
No, it's okay. Answer that.
I don't think that this has been a new trend where people are using motorcycles to increase their follower count and then pivoting to something like lifestyle or whatever.
I think there's multiple people who've done it in the past as well, and they've done it successfully too. And again, this is not a dig at them. This is me giving them props, right? If you came into the industry knowing that you wanted to hit lifestyle and do everything that you wanted with lifestyle, and you use this to build your journey from that, kudos to you. I mean, you've done it. But I think as an audience, I think we should be very selective about who we follow and what kind of information we get from them. It comes back to the points you guys were making earlier about fashion and lifestyle influencers getting invited to events, right? I've seen a lot of people come into motorcycles because they realize, and I have had conversations with someone who's become very popular now. In the initial days where he said, I just want to travel the world and do things for free every day, but I realized that there's no direct link to get brands on board. So I know that motorcycle is this thing, I know to ride a motorcycle, I'm going to start off with this and then make my journey that way. Some of you might be able to guess the name, I'm never going to take that name. And credit to him or her that they've managed to do that. But yeah, I think we have to be very selective about who we follow, and I think in this current generation of content creators, I think we have to be very selective about it. Because if you pick the wrong person to guide you, and I think I was lucky, I'm saying I'm lucky because I had the right set of friends around me when I got into motorcycling, the Brotherhood of Tourers, Ankit, Brian, all of these guys who I ride with. These are people who have way more riding experience than I do. But the way they did it is what influenced me to do what I do nowadays. And if you have the right set of people who get you into motorcycling in the right way, I don't think you'll ever have a problem. But if you follow people who are just riding motorcycles to create content, then that becomes a problem. I think I found, someone asked me also, I've taken breaks in between and then started uploading content as well every now and then, right? One of the reasons why I've done that, apart from things that have happened in my personal life that I needed to take care of, was I found myself building content because I had to build content to stay relevant. I started running this rat race with everyone where, Monday upload has to happen, Monday upload has to happen. Let me find something to create. And I was running there to create content, and I was searching for content. And that's a very dangerous place to be in, because then you start to either diminish the qualities of your videos, or what you see nowadays is people scripting videos. I don't know how did that become a thing, yeah? I remember there was this, I can't remember that, but they kept on saying Papa Ki Pari or something, like this one scooter thing that happened, it went viral, and then later on people realized that jackass was actually scripting all of his videos, and he was getting into accidents. I hope people don't remember me now, I switch on the camera, people meet accidents, they think I'm scripting shit, but you can't make this shit up sometimes. But as I realized that people were desperate to just get famous through any means possible. I don't think you can get famous through one video. Your channel might get a lot of views, people might come to your YouTube channel to watch what's next, expecting that same kind of video which went viral last time. But if you don't have a consistent quality of uploads or a certain bit of information that you continuously give out in every video, if your audience is not taking value away from what they see in your videos, then I don't think you're doing yourself any justice, and I don't think you're doing your audience any justice by uploading those videos. Which is why you see some of the largest channels on YouTube, I'm not talking about mine, not large, but some of the largest channels on YouTube being the ones where you gain something out of it. If nothing else, it at least puts a smile on your face, right? Watching high-speed run videos and stuff doesn't put a smile on anyone's face. It lets you live a dangerous life through someone else's camera. It does nothing more beyond that. And if the person who's uploading these videos thinks that he's doing the world a big favor by putting his life at risk, we all know he or she is not, right?
Yeah, definitely it's a sheep. Don't worry. But every time he's extracting the sheep, though, yeah.
Just to be generally you around these things. Come from a corporate world, I can't say these things. But yeah, I think eventually, if you want to build an audience, if you want a channel that is adding value to the whole motorcycling ecosystem, then give out information that's useful. Don't just make random scripted videos which get you views for one thing. Think about it this way: how many of these YouTubers who you've seen make these scripted videos and stuff like that actually get invited to have sit-downs like this? How many of them actually get brand deals or collaborations from motorcycle India? None of them, because I think the PR teams and marketing teams know who their audience is and what this is. So what are you really getting viral for then at the end of the day? You're not getting anything out of it. The brands aren't getting anything out of it. It's pointless. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, somewhat. And last part of the question was, let's say 10 years down the lane, how would you feel the industry would be, or the whole segment, if at all the motorcycling / content creation go parallel till then, and with EVs or not, everything.
What is the break?
So, how do you feel that would be?
It's a tricky part because I never thought we'd be here at this stage when I started moto-vlogging back in the day. But I think what has happened is we've always somewhat followed what, and this is not us being Indians just following the West, that's what I'm saying. Through some weird coincidence, we've always ended up at a stage where the UK and the US have been in terms of content creation a few years later. For example, how many of you follow 44 Teeth? Yeah, okay. Baron von Grumble, have you heard of him? Baron von Grumble. So Baron von Grumble and Alistair Fagan are two guys who are part of 44 Teeth. Baron von Grumble was an outright motovlogger back in the day in the UK. I think one of the videos that got me to his channel was he took a Suzuki GSX 1000 and he went to this off-road path and he got it stuck in the slush. And then after that, I mean, it's not normally what he does, but he just unfortunately ended up being there. But the content is funny and the content is very informative as well. Alistair Fagan is an ex-British World Superbike racer. And Baron von Grumble owns multiple motorcycles, and you can see that he has a lot of track experience. He's ridden multiple motorcycles too. They also have, I think, a workshop where they work on motorcycles. So they do this very interesting series. Why am I here promoting other channel? But they do this very interesting series where they buy broken or old motorcycles off eBay Motors in the UK, and the two of them repair these motorcycles and take them for a long ride. The long ride ends at a racetrack, and the two of them race these old motorcycles. And it's just complete jokes throughout. It's a really funny channel. Do check it out. 4040. And like I'm saying, they started off as just motovloggers. They then moved into getting invited for these media events, and now it's moved to them purely having a fully blown production company where they are like an automotive publication but virtual. So they get. I think we'll eventually end up there. While this whole podcast and all of this storm is taking place right now, I don't think that's something that can last for too long. I think it's just going to be maybe a span of 2 or 3 years, and then because none of us have the patience to sit for 2 hours, especially after watching a 30-second Instagram video. Right? And if we are watching podcasts, I think we're distracted after maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes maximum. Because when you use them just to eat our food and then move on to something else. But I think that it's eventually going to move into a place where content creators somewhat become automotive journalists, because now the experience that they're gaining over the years, we're being invited for race events, we're being invited for off-road events. A lot of people are good riders as well. I've seen a lot of people, some of them being even instructors, who knows. And then if you take that along with the ability to be in front of camera, along with the ability to understand what's good about the motorcycle and what isn't so great about the motorcycle, then that makes for a perfect combination of a journalist who can also entertain you, right? And I think that's what the audience wants to see now as well. I think that's eventually where we'll end up. EVs, are they the future? Was that your question for me?
No. This was the main question.
Okay.
EVs and every other, a lot of electric motorcycles also coming in.
Yeah.
Would that impact, so EVs alone was not a factor.
Oh, no, I don't think EVs are going to impact the market that much. Again, my personal opinion, I don't know how long the EV craze will last as well. Because in my conversation with very well-established auto journalists as well, they've also shared that their concern is that break-even point when you buy an EV is maybe 6 or 8 years down the line. But how many of us actually keep vehicles for that long, right? So you're spending way more to buy it. By the time you're going to break even, you sell it, or you have to replace a battery which costs a bomb. And then that becomes another problem altogether. So companies like Ather are offering, I think, battery warranties and stuff like that. I think that makes sense. I think Autopilot also are doing that. But if you don't have that shield for you in the future, then I don't think you're ever going to see the real benefits of owning an EV. Then it just becomes a selling gimmick and you fall into it.
Can we do this after a short break, don't mind. We'll take a quick break and we'll continue the session.
There's a live camera. Maybe say break ke baad or something. We'll see you after the break.
Yeah. A quick 15 minutes break. Okay. Make sure you guys don't spend more time down so that you will end up with directly run off there. If not, again you'll get crowded here.
Okay guys, we are serving snacks and refreshments. I would like you all to please grab a bite and quickly be back for the simple coffee session. Guys, we have snacks and refreshments downstairs, so I request you all to please go grab a bite, take a quick break and be back for the session.
Long back, I used to send some like for Instagram, right? For 6K, I used to do some posting. Back when you have an engagement, which you are sending out. Around for 3 months, I used to do.
Good sir, long time.
I missed a couple of